Drama Stories YouTube.
When blood is not thicker than pain. I always believed family was unbreakable, that no matter what happened, mistakes, fights, misunderstandings, your family would always find their way back to you. That belief, it was my anchor, my safety net. Until the day it wasn't. My name is Emma Lewis. I grew up in a house that looked perfect from the outside, a white picket fence, a golden retriever named Max, birthday parties in the backyard with colorful balloons, and holiday photos where everyone was smiling just a little too wide. If you had asked anyone in town, they would have told you, the Lewis family? Oh, they're wonderful, such a close family. And I believed it too, until the small cracks began to show. It started with little things. I remember once when I was about 8, my brother Matthew broke my favorite doll in a fit of anger. I cried and cried. When I told my parents, they didn't punish him. They barely acknowledged it. "Emma, don't be so dramatic," my mother said, brushing me off like a fly buzzing too close to her dinner. "Boys will be boys," my father added with a chuckle. It was such a small moment, but it stuck with me. It taught me a lesson. In my family, some people mattered more than others. Matthew mattered. I didn't. As we grew older, the pattern became clearer. When Matthew wrecked his bike riding dangerously through the neighbors' flower beds, I was blamed for not keeping an eye on him. When he got into fights at school, my parents insisted it was because the other kids were jealous. When he started dating and inevitably hurt every girl he got close to, they laughed it off. He's just a heartbreaker, like his dad was at that age. Meanwhile, I was expected to be perfect. Straight A's. Captain of the debate team. Polite, pretty, responsible. Any slip, a B on a math test, forgetting to call grandma on her birthday, was met with sighs of disappointment, long lectures about how much we expect from you, Emma. But still, I clung to them, because they were my family. Because I thought that if I just worked a little harder, loved them a little more, they would finally see me. Finally choose me. Fast forward to adulthood. I moved out at 18, putting 200 miles between me and home, but I never really left emotionally. I called every week, visited on holidays, sent cards and gifts for every birthday and anniversary, but the truth was, I was starting to feel invisible. The calls I made felt more like obligations to them. The visits were filled with forced smiles and careful conversations. Matthew bought a new car, they would gush, voices bright. Matthew just got promoted. Matthew met a wonderful girl. I would sit there nodding, swallowing my bitterness with every sip of wine. Did they ever ask about my life? My small victories? My heartbreaks? Rarely. The final break came in a way I never expected. One night, Matthew's girlfriend Sarah reached out to me. We had become friends, in that polite, surface-level way you do when family ties you together. But her voice that night, it was raw, trembling. "Emma," she said through tears, "I don't know who else to call. He's not who you think he is." She told me about the screaming matches, the holes in the walls, the way he grabbed her arm so tightly once that it left bruises for days. "I love him," she whispered, "but I'm scared, Emma. I don't know what to do." I stayed on the phone with her for hours. I promised her I'd help. I promised I wouldn't let her be alone. The next day, I did the unthinkable. I confronted my family. We met in the living room where we had once opened Christmas presents, giggling and wearing matching pajamas. But this time, the air was heavy, thick with tension. I spoke carefully, trembling, trying not to cry. "Sarah needs help," I said. "Matthew needs help. We can't ignore this anymore." At first, there was stunned silence. Then the shouting began. "You're lying," my mother hissed, face red. "You're trying to tear this family apart," my father growled. "You're jealous," Matthew smirked, arms crossed. "You've always been jealous of me." And Lily, sweet Lily, just stood there staring at her shoes, refusing to meet my eyes. My mother's words cut the deepest. "If you're so unhappy, Emma, maybe you don't belong here anymore." My breath caught in my throat. I waited for anyone to stand up for me, to say, "No, wait, let's listen to her." To say, "She's family." No one did. And so, with tears blurring my vision, I left. I left everything I had ever known. I left the people I had spent my whole life loving, protecting, believing in. And they didn't stop me. The first few months were hell. I cried myself to sleep more nights than I can count. I felt like a failure. I questioned everything, every memory, every laugh, every hug. Were they ever real? Was I ever truly loved? Grief doesn't just come when someone dies. It comes when the living decide you are dead to them. I had to rebuild myself from scratch. Therapy helped. Books helped. Finding my own chosen family, friends who loved me without conditions, helped. But it was slow, and it was lonely. 1 year later, I got a call from Lily. "Emma," she said, voice trembling, "I'm so sorry. I should have defended you. You were right." She told me Sarah had left Matthew, told the town everything, the bruises, the threats. People who had once praised the Lewis family whispered behind their backs now. Matthew lost his job. My father's business suffered. My mother refused to leave the house. "They want you to come home," Lily said. I sat there frozen. Home? Was it still home? I thought about the years I spent being the good daughter for parents who would never love me the way I needed. I thought about the nights spent crying into my pillow, feeling like an orphan with living parents. I thought about how peaceful my life had become, without their conditional love weighing me down. "I'm sorry," I told Lily. "I love you. But I can't come back." Sometimes love means walking away. Sometimes healing means giving up the dream of what could have been. Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who choose you, even at your worst, who stay, even when it's hard. And for the first time in my life, I chose myself. I chose peace. I chose freedom. I chose a future built on honesty, not on silence. And somehow, that feels like the greatest kind of love there is.